Okay, so get ready to indulge those cravings, everyone, because today we are taking a deep dive into the world of chocolate.
That's right, and we're not just talking about your average candy bar here.
So, what have scientists uncovered in their quest to, understand chocolate's effect on us, on our bodies?
Well, one of the most intriguing areas of research that we've got here revolves around a group of compounds called flavonols.
Okay, flavonols.
And these powerful antioxidants, they're found naturally in cocoa, and they've been making quite a splash in the world of cardiovascular health.
Really? So they're good for your heart.
That seems to be the case, and when we say powerful, we mean it. What's remarkable is how these flavonols actually interact with our blood vessels.
They do.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. They lead to some pretty impressive effects. In fact, several studies, including this one highlighted in Chocolate and Health, have actually shown that regular consumption of flavanol-rich cocoa can actually improve blood flow and even lower blood pressure.
Hold on, are you saying that a little bit of chocolate could actually be good for my heart? Because that's not really the message we're used to hearing.
It's not quite as simple as grabbing the nearest candy bar and calling it a health food, unfortunately.
Yeah, figures.
The benefits we're talking about, they're closely tied to the amount and the type of flavanols present,
Okay.
which sadly can be significantly reduced during processing. But as a general rule, dark chocolate tends to retain a higher flavanol content compared to, its milk chocolate counterpart.
There's always a catch. But let's get specific here. What kind of evidence are we actually talking about? Just how significant are these blood pressure lowering effects?
Well, one particularly compelling study that I came across, it was published in the Netherlands Journal of Medicine, and it found that consuming flavanol-rich cocoa led to a notable decrease in both systolic and diastolic blood pressure. Now, for those who need a quick refresher, systolic, that's the top number in a blood pressure reading. It measures the pressure when your heart beats.
Okay.
And diastolic, the bottom number, that one measures the pressure when your heart is at rest between beats.
Got it.
And get this, these positive effects, they were observed not only in healthy individuals, but also in those already diagnosed with hypertension.
Wow, so this isn't just about, maintaining already healthy blood pressure. It could potentially help people manage existing hypertension. That's huge.
It's certainly promising, but of course, more research is always needed. Speaking of groundbreaking research, there's another fascinating finding from this Chocolate and Health article that really challenges a long-held assumption about chocolate and how it affects our cholesterol.
Right, the saturated fat, right. I mean, that's been the big concern for years.
Exactly. But what researchers are now discovering is that the stearic acid that's found in chocolate, it might not actually deserve the bad rap it's been getting.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So unlike other types of saturated fats, stearic acid doesn't seem to raise LDL cholesterol. That's the bad kind that, can clog our arteries as much as we previously thought.
Interesting. Okay, so we've got potential pluses for blood pressure and cholesterol. Is there anything else that these, what did you call them again?
Flavonols.
Flavonols, what else can they do?
Well, beyond those heart-healthy perks, flavanols are also showing some promise in the realm of blood sugar regulation. Emerging research actually suggests that they might even play a role in improving something called insulin sensitivity,
Okay.
which is key for managing blood sugar levels, particularly for individuals with type 2 diabetes.
So are we saying that chocolate could be like a secret weapon in the fight against diabetes? That seems like a bit of a stretch.
Okay, we're absolutely not suggesting that anyone ditch their prescribed medication in favor of, a chocolate binge.
Yeah, of course.
But it's definitely an area that's ripe for further investigation, The current findings, they are preliminary, but they hint at the potential for chocolate to, maybe offer benefits for metabolic health in addition to those exciting cardiovascular effects we talked about.
That's wild. Okay, that is a lot of information to
Yeah.
process. But before we all run out and buy all the dark chocolate we can find, let's address the elephant in the room. Sugar and fat content.
Oh, you're absolutely right. Moderation is key with, really any food, but that goes double for chocolate.
Yeah.
As delicious as it is, overindulging, it can lead to weight gain, which can then in turn negate any of those potential health benefits that we've been discussing.
So enjoy that chocolate, but keep it reasonable. Got it. But there's another fascinating aspect of chocolate's effect that I'm really curious to unpack, and that's the connection between this treat and, and our mood?
Uh-huh.
Is it all just a sugar rush and like wishful thinking, or there's something, something more going on?
That's where it gets really interesting. And your source, that one offers some, I think, truly intriguing insights into that complex relationship between chocolate and our mental state.
Okay, I am all ears. What does the research have to say about chocolate's potential to, to influence how we feel?
Well, one study really caught my eye. It looked into the link between personality traits and chocolate cravings, especially when we're feeling down or a bit depressed.
So are you saying there might be a scientific reason for those chocolate will fix it moments we've all had?
That's exactly what this research suggests. They found that people who crave chocolate, especially when they're feeling down, they tended to score higher on those personality facets that are associated with, well, what psychologists call neuroticism.
Neuroticism.
Yeah, things like being more prone to irritability or having a heightened sensitivity to rejection.
So it's not just as simple as wanting comfort food. There could be a deeper connection between our personality and why we reach for the chocolate at certain times.
Precisely. And this actually ties into the whole concept of emotional eating, which another study you shared really dug into. It looked at how chocolate's sensory experience, that melt in your mouth texture, the aroma, the way the flavors hit our palate, how all of that plays a role in our emotional response.
That makes a lot of sense. Sometimes a piece of chocolate is more than just a snack. It's a whole experience.
Exactly. It's that powerful sensory experience combined with the effect of carbohydrates on our brain chemistry that could be driving this whole phenomenon of emotional eating.
Wow. So it's not just a myth. There really could be a scientific link between chocolate and our mood, one that's more than just a sugar rush.
It really makes you appreciate how complex our relationship with food really is.
Absolutely. It seems like every answer we uncovered just leads to more questions. We've gone from ancient rituals to cutting-edge labs. It's quite a journey for one little bean. But as we near the end of our deep dive, I can't help but wonder, where does this all leave us? Should we be thinking of chocolate as a health food, a guilty pleasure, or something in between?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? I think the biggest takeaway here is that chocolate really can't be put into a box so easily. It's not simply good or bad.
It's not a magic cure for everything, but it's also not the villain it's sometimes made out to be.
You got it. We've seen evidence that it could be good for our cardiovascular health, could help with blood pressure, and even has the potential to lift our mood. But we have to remember these benefits are often linked to things like those flavonoids we were discussing, and those can change depending on what type of chocolate we're enjoying and how it was made.
And of course, we can't forget about the sugar and fat that often come along for the ride, so moderation is always key.
Always. But now that we're armed with all this new knowledge, maybe we can approach our chocolate choices a little differently.
I love that. So instead of just grabbing the first bar we see, maybe we take a second to think about the flavonols or savor that dark chocolate, knowing it could have some benefits.
Exactly. Or maybe we enjoy that milk chocolate with full awareness, knowing sometimes it's more about the experience and less about what it means for our health. It's all about finding a good balance for each of us.
This deep dive has really given me a lot to think about. I'm already looking at my next chocolate bar a little differently.
And that's the beauty of it all, right? We learn something new, and it lets us make better choices and really appreciate even the small things, like that piece of chocolate. So to all our listeners out there, next time you reach for your favorite treat, think about its history, savor the flavor, and just enjoy.